Oh.
Okay, so this is how to center and throw a cylinder and a bowl on the wheel. You're going to start with about 2 pounds of clay. If you're not that strong, do 1.5 pounds of clay. And you're going to use fresh clay, not the used pieces. So you want to take from the fresh brick of clay and start by making it into a nice round ball. I'm going to be using one of the electric wheels. In class I'll be doing the demonstration on the kick wheel so you can see the difference between the two. The smoother and rounder this is before you start, the easier it will be. If it's a lumpy mess, it's going to be harder. Okay, so this is the head of my wheel. I have my trays on. We have a couple different kinds of wheels, so depending on which one you have, the tray goes on a little different, so I'll show you that in class. I want my wheel head dry, otherwise my clay won't stick to it. So I'm going to take my piece of clay and I'm going to put it down with a little bit of force. If it's not, so if I look at it and it's way off to one side, I'll just kind of wiggle it and then pat it down. Okay? I also have a bucket of water and a small sponge. I'm going to get the wheel spinning first so I can get the appropriate speed. So you're going to use the pedal. So if I push my toe all the way down, that's the fastest. I want to be kind of going like medium fast. And then with the electric wheels, I like to just take my foot off the pedal so I'm not tempted to start and stop it constantly. And then it will just keep spinning, and when I need it to stop, I'll just put my toe on the back of the pedal. My first goal with this is I have to center the clay. So if I hold my finger here on the side, you'll notice that the clay is hitting my finger sometimes, and other times it's not, which means that it's not centered on the wheel head. So there's a couple steps to centering. The first one is going to be pressing the clay down onto the wheel, which is going to help get it suctioned on really tight, as well as help get it centered. I'm going to wet my clay now and wet my hands. You don't need excessive amounts of water, but you need enough so that you're not having friction. So your hands, the clay should glide smoothly along your hand without creating a feeling of friction. If that's happening, you need to clean your hands and wet your clay a little bit more. So first step is my left hand's on the side. You should make sure also that your wheel is spinning counterclockwise. A couple of our wheels have a reverse and will spin the other way, so make sure it's spinning to the left. I'm going to lock my elbow against my leg so that my hand is not just free floating. Okay, so it's going to be locked up against my leg. My left hand's on the side with my palm more towards my body. My right hand's going to go on top. So I'm using the pinky side, the sort of fat part of my hand here, so that it's going to go down, not directly in the middle, but slightly off to the side, so closer to me. I'm going to lock my left arm into place. I'm going to lean forward into the clay as I push down with my right hand. I don't want to go down too far because otherwise you'll get a big wide pancake and it will be hard to bring it back in. So just from doing that, I can test for centered again, and I can already tell that it's closer to center because the gap between my finger and the clay is smaller. So the next step to centering is bringing it up or raising it up into a like cone shape or upside down cone. I'm going to place my hands on either side, overlap your fingers in the back, and you're going to squeeze your hands together. It's important that your hands stay touching the wheel, okay? If you lift your hands up as you squeeze in, you're going to yank the clay right off the wheel. So I'm going to squeeze my palms together. Again, my elbows are locked against my legs so that my arms aren't floating. And I'm going to squeeze in. Now, I'm starting to feel some friction. The clay is getting dry on my hand. So I'm stop. I wet my hands, and then I just go back and continue. I'm going to squeeze in until it raises up to about the top of my hands. Then I can slowly come in and up, but I'm not squeezing as hard so that I don't yank it off. Some people will find going up easier, some people will find going down easier. It doesn't have to be a huge change. It shouldn't be getting like crazy tall and really low and flat. You want to do up a little, down a little. I'm going to go back down now. You'll notice that I clean the bottom edge with my back of my thumbnail so that I can get my hand really tight up against the side. If the clay flares way out, then you can't get your hand nice and tight to the side of it. Again, left hand's on the side, elbow locked against my leg, arm locked onto the tray, right hand on top. I'm almost leaning against my left thumb. I'm going to push forward hard with my left hand as I push down. When I feel the clay lock into the place, I'm going to release slowly and then pull away. A lot of times people will have trouble because they'll actually have it centered, but then when they take their hand off, they kind of jab into the clay. So when you feel it run smoothly along your hand, then you want to just release slowly and then pull away so that you're not messing up all the work that you just did. So again, now I check this for centered. Up at the top, it's almost completely centered. It's got a tiny little wobble to it, I can feel with my finger. And then at the bottom, it's still a little bit off-centered still. So I'm just going to go up and down again, a little bit, and see if I can get the bottom part slightly more centered. You'll notice that time I didn't go up as high because I don't need to do as much. I'm going to tighten up the bottom of my hand a little to try and get the bottom part in line. And I release slowly. Okay, so now this is centered. It's running smoothly along my finger from top to bottom.